My good, my goodness. James Cleverly was evasive this morning on Laura Kuenssberg's show, and she asked him again and again about the researcher who was arrested and had he brought up this issue with his Chinese counterparts when he visited China. We know that in an oblique way, Rishi Sunak apparently brought this up with the Premier of China, but did the Foreign Secretary, who knew from March that this researcher had been arrested. Well, uh, it's he came out with the line that we do not comment on intelligence or security related matters. Laura went on and on and on asking the question, and he repeated the answer in various forms. The Prime Minister is absolutely right that both he and I raised with the Chinese authorities their actions which are seeking to undermine or distort our democracy. But he was also clear that his work in China, his work visiting China, is incredibly important, and the advocates of somehow ignoring China, pretending it doesn't exist, not talking to China, not having an embassy in Beijing, and not having a Chinese embassy in the UK. Some people have said we should disengage from China. That is not a credible option. I entirely agree with him. I entirely agree. I don't think it's a credible option to disengage with Afghanistan or with Russia. But we have, in effect. When there's a difficult relationship, this is a challenging and difficult relationship. It is more important rather than less important that you maintain those face-to-face communications. Absolutely. I couldn't have said that any better. I thought he was evasive and dodgy in his interview this morning on Laura Kuenssberg, but nevertheless, the little bit that he did say was bang on the mark. And where he was also talking about Syria and Libya, he was involved in the Libyan campaign himself. And again, he was perhaps a little bit dodgy in his ability to say, do we have the money to help? Do we have the foreign aid money to help people in Libya? Well, no, we're wasting that on Suella Braverman. It would have been useful to have heard him say that, but I can understand why there's a political constraint on him not bad-mouthing a particularly useless minister with such power. But bad-mouth her he should, because we're now in a position where we were partly responsible, as Laura Kuenssberg was trying to get James Cleverly to admit, we were partly responsible for the situation that has now occurred in Libya, and we should take that responsibility seriously. We should be helping. We can't help because so much of our budget is being squandered on Suella Braverman's fantasies. But there we are. It was an interesting encounter on television this morning.